My self-care is no longer so spell work driven. I wanted to make this video because I feel like my definition of self-care has expanded a lot. In recent years, and especially as a folk practitioner, I feel like it has become very intrinsically intertwined with community care and care for others. It's become very intrinsically intertwined with my boundaries, with my protection magic. All these kind of aspects of myself that are just in my day-to-day. Between doing my makeup and prepping veils and kind of spending time divining on situations, divining for others, talking to others, there's this level of like care there that I don't know if I always was in touch with that. I think that for a long time my idea of self-care was, you know, doing a face mask, taking a bubble bath, you know. But in recent years, like I said, it's now about knowing my boundaries. It's about protection. It's about caring for myself and others. In the spirit of today's video, there is a sponsor that we'll be talking to about in just a few moments that I'm doing a massive giveaway with in the spirit of self-care. But I also wanted to take some time and talk through some of the things that I personally really like to do for self-care. First, a word from our sponsor. Before we get started in the video, I want to thank the sponsor for this video, Balesa. We are partnering together to send out free vibrators and gift cards for vibrators for everyone who signs up for my giveaway. The link is down below. Balesa is a bi-women company for all things sexual wellness, and they have a mission to empower everyone to embrace, explore, and celebrate their sexuality. I have two little bad boys today to show off to you. Pebble, Air Vibe, okay? I love both of these. I'm gonna tell you why I love them. One, Pebble, suction and vibration, controlled separately, all right? It's ergonomic. It's got no annoying pattern modes. I don't know about you, but the amount of times those pattern modes have ruined my life, a lot. I also love these cases. They're completely discreet. The cases are discreet, and you have a little charging area right here. You just have to place it correctly. You can charge the case. I absolutely love the Pebble. Personally, also I'm an Air Vibe person, all right? I love the Air Vibe. I opened it the wrong way. Discreet casing, waterproof, dual action, all right? Suction, stimulation, not suction. Yeah, suction, stimulation. Waterproof, rechargeable, and it's silent. I don't know about you. I really have a pet peeve for non-silent vibrators, okay? If you sign up with the link down below, you will get either a free vibrator or a free discount to get a vibrator. They have a LGBTQ plus section, they have a for him section, they have these available if you're into them. But thank you so much, Balesa, for sponsoring this video. Make sure you take part in that giveaway. I'm not using my fancy camera today because it's been kind of a strange day. It's been a crazy week. If you've watched my recent video, it's been a crazy couple days. And I think in that I am revisiting and returning to what does self-care look like for me as a practitioner, but not just that, as a folk practitioner whose practice is so communal. And I think that in a lot of ways, creation for people, for others, for myself has become a way of care, self-care, care for others, care for myself. Especially in terms of making products, creating things that I feel really passionate about, doing readings, which I have another announcement about that later. My self-care is no longer so spell work driven. It's more about checking in with myself, learning, when I need to take a break, really kind of making sure I pace myself and pace out my work. As someone who works a lot of the time, I feel like it's so easy for me to get caught up in that and get really burnt out. It's so easy for me to forget all the things around me that ground me and center me. Even just taking some time on a day-to-day and communing with ancestors, spirits, creating, making sure I tend to my body. It means, in a lot of ways, it's a lot more what my self-care looks like. My self-care is also a lot of protection magic now. It's a lot of making sure I am properly protected before I go places. Hi. Making sure I check in with myself on my energy and see if I have enough time for things, but it's also making time for people that I care about and people that I love. It's my partner, it's my friends. And I think ultimately I'm revisiting these themes of self-care because in the past couple years I've had such a tendency to compromise my boundaries and ultimately my care. And in turn, that compromising of boundaries on my end makes it so it is more difficult for me to take care of other people that I care about. It's more difficult for me to support them when they need it. It's more difficult for me to show up when someone needs it. And that in a lot of ways is why I think self-care is communal care. Because you can't burn the candle at both ends and then expect to show up when it matters the most for the people you care about and for the greater world. You can't do everything possible to push yourself to the edge of burnout and then hope that you bounce back in time for the important stuff. And I think that, you know, self-care as we think of it is oftentimes a privilege. It's oftentimes about what you can have access to, how easily you can get away. But I wanted to make this video to show that oftentimes my self-care doesn't really look like it did in the last video where I just go away. You know, that's something that I have access to and I have the privilege of having access to, but that's not really what happens a lot of the time. What happens a lot of the time is that I spend the day doing something that I am passionate about. I spend the day doing something that I feel pulled to, that I want to create. I spend the day reading my favorite book. I spend the day walking outside under Diana's tree and just connecting, grounding. I think today it's so interesting because I felt more at ease, more chill than I have in ages. And it was one of the most chaotic days. And I am just so chill. I am at ease. I feel connected. I feel ready for what's next. I feel like I have my head on my shoulders for the first time in 2 weeks. And I think the self-care that I am doing has a lot to do with that, because I'm understanding that like I needed a break and then taking the time to incorporate that, not as like multiple days of break, but a little bit of break time every day. So like I said, being self-employed, there's not a lot of time to chill out. We can engage in like little treat culture and like buying things as self-care, but ultimately I feel like my self-care comes from not the purchasing of things, not the like little treats, but it comes from genuinely recognizing my needs and my boundaries and what I need in that moment, and listening to my body and my mind, and doing a lot of times whatever it takes to listen. And then in turn, I am in a position where I'm ready to create things for people again. I'm in a position where I'm ready to show up for people if they need me. I'm in a position where I'm rested, I'm regulated. I am ready to hop back on the horse. I'm ready to do something new. I'm ready to start a transition. And even though I'm like still kind of like shedding my skin, you know, like a snake, I feel so supported and so happy for the people around me right now. And seeing the way that my care, or like the way I can show up for them, reflects or comes back around almost, it's kind of what makes me continue to do this. Not just in general for like on the internet, but just with people. And I know this is so weird, but like, I've spent so much time of my life shutting myself down because of my empathy, or feeling like there's something wrong with me because of how much I feel for myself, for other people, good things and bad things, and how much I feel hurt, how much I feel happiness, how much I feel sadness, how much I feel everything. And I have spent so much time thinking that that's, you know, something wrong with me. That feeling that much, that loving something, loving people that much, being so happy for them that I cannot like contain it physically. I've spent so much time being told by the world that that's wrong. But I think genuinely we need more of being happy for other people. We need more care for the community. We need more ability to recognize in ourselves what we need, and then how that reflects to what other people around us need. Because sometimes we don't need, you know, to run away to our parents' house at a ranch, you know. Sometimes we need to be sat down at a table and given a stern talking to. Sometimes we need to clean our house. Sometimes we need to just sit down and get work done, even if it's uncomfortable. And that work doesn't have to be physical capitalist work. It can literally be emotional work. It can be reflection. It can be shadow work. That is self-care, and self-care isn't just treating yourself nice because you had a bad day. It is that, but it's also deeper than that. It's about protecting yourself, protecting the people around you. It's about recognizing when you f***ed up and making amends. Because self-care is intrinsic to community care. We cannot care for the people around us and care for our communities if we don't have the energy to do it, if we don't have the resources to do it. Sadly, we live in a world where a lot of times that self-care is really inaccessible for a lot of people. But I want this video to be a reframing of things, a reframing of how self-care plays into folk magic, into community-based practices, into practices circulating around the folk, but also how you can do it in a way that's accessible, because folk magic is nothing if not accessible. Folk magic is about the people. You are one of the people. How do you care for the people, and how do you care for yourself? What is needed in this moment to ensure that you can continue to care for yourself, for the people around you, to ensure that you can receive that care in the many forms it comes in financial support, in being fed, in positive support, but also in criticism, in reflection, in sitting there and really thinking about what we need to do, what we need to work on. This has all come about because I made a decision. And by decision, I mean I interviewed for a tarot reader position at Ritual Craft, and I got it. So I'm kind of taking a mini vacation this week, and then I'm going back to work. And I'm still shipping packages, I'm still making sure that those things that are for my shop are getting done, but I am about to return to something that originally I left because I didn't have enough boundaries with it, because I was letting too much go on, and because it was my only source of income, and because it exhausted me. And I'm returning to it not only with a new method of divination, but also in a space where I have a very strict schedule. I have a third space for it, you know, a second space for it. And I am so optimistic, but also remembering all of these things, you know, to keep in mind, all the boundaries I need moving forward with this. But yeah, that was my like tiny announcement is if you are in the Denver area or you are just interested in getting a reading with me, whether that is through my playing cards, my tarot cards, which I am offering playing card readings. I have been studying for the last year and I feel comfortable with it. I'm very excited. I also asked my ancestors and several peers of mine. That was not a tiny decision. That was something that was informed by my ancestors, myself, my community. So even though I've been practicing it and studying it a lot less than tarot, 7 years, 1 year, that call, that passion towards that, that's something I want to offer. And it's something that I'm very comfortable in. It's very natural to me in ways that tarot never was. And of course tarot is very natural because I've been doing it for 7 years, but this came immediately. And that is something that I'm like, I'm supposed to be doing this right now. So if you're in the Denver local area, you want to stop by Ritual Craft every other Monday starting on March 4th. I will be there. You can book me for a reading ahead of time, or you can call the shop in person to do it. I will leave a link down below. Yeah, so if you want to come see me and get a reading from me after a year of me not reading at all, come and see me. Come and see me. If you're a little further away, still options for you down at that link. And I am very excited for this next step in my journey and this return to something that I'm passionate about. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know it's a little different than the videos I normally do, but I'm really honestly focusing on something new here. I hope you enjoy it. Have a good rest of your day. Remember to drink water. Siate benedetti.